All right, by Natalia. I think this girl's mainly pretty good. She says things that are accurate, so see what she says this time.
If a man lets you get away with way too much from your past, he doesn't like you that much. If he doesn't question certain decisions that you made, he doesn't care that much. If there isn't a mild level of judgment, he doesn't care that much.
Wow, this could not be more true, honestly. What she's saying is exactly true. Now, a lot of this stuff, to really understand it, I'd have to go into a really deep spiel about, which I might do at some point. It has to do with feminine, masculine. I think a lot of people think that this type of stuff is wrong because they base their entire worldview on something they were taught versus something that's inherent to being a human being, whether you like it or not. Essentially, what I'm talking about is an innate set of desires and wants that are pre-coded in all of us. And then as we age, as we are raised by our parents, there's a logical framework that's being applied to us. Essentially, we're being programmed. And generally, what determines our satisfaction in relationships comes down to how accurate or close that programming was to what our base characteristics are. What I'm referring to is the feminine masculine balance. I think these days a lot of guys are being conditioned to be feminine, which is off their natural center. Same with women. A lot of women are being conditioned to be masculine, which is also off their center. And that's why you're seeing a lot of clash when it comes to relationships. And you're seeing all these fake spiritual gurus that are talking about how you have to let go of these traits, but you can't because it's rooted in your subconscious. And you can't just delete something that exists deep in your mind. It doesn't work this way. There's innate things that we all want, and either you accept them or you fight them your entire life. And some things are easier to fight than others. To make a really long story short, what she's saying is absolutely true. If a guy is not even slightly judgmental, he doesn't care. And the reason why guys are judgmental or why they care about your past and all these things is because that means they have a vested interest in your future. A guy that cares about your past will also care about your future. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's not always true. There's some guys, blah, blah, blah. Yes, there's always going to be some guys that do it for purely ego or selfish reasons. That doesn't mean that the mechanism is broken. What I'm saying is there's a reason why a guy thinks this way, and it's not for a bad reason. It's because he has a vested interest in the girl's future, therefore he's going to care. If a guy doesn't care about any of those things, it's probably because he sees her as something temporary, and that's why he's able to detach from that past or whatever it is for any judgments.
Okay? Let me show you. I shouldn't be teaching you anything new. We're just going to go mathematically why it doesn't make sense. Unlike the woman, when a man is attracted to a woman, or lack thereof at least, it impacts his treatment toward her in two different ways, okay? The first way, is what he expects from her. The second way is how he courts her, okay? So this is very important because also they don't have an inverse relationship. They have the same type of relationship. So the more a man is attracted to a woman, the more he expects from her, right? So like, he expects that you are out there making frivolous decisions, you weren't being loose with your body, you were having practicing a moral compass of some sort, right? And this becomes subjective because what you agree with might not be with what they agree with, and vice versa, right? But there is an objective line of what good decision making is and what good decision making is not. So if the man finds out something or you tell him something and he's really attracted to you, he sees a certain something with you, right? That's going to derail his decision. And the less attracted he is to you, the more he's gonna kind of just really not care about the decisions that you made or where your moral compass swings, really.
So I'm just going to quickly pause there because she's saying a lot of good stuff, but I have to slow it down a little bit because it gets very confusing for a lot of people. And it's so weird to me how people often view these things and they don't want to see for what it is. They sort of just shut their brain down and say, oh, I don't want to think. I just want to tune all this stuff out. It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, you can do that, right? But then you're just a feather in the wind. So that's fine if you're one of those people that thinks that way, fair enough. But there is a lot of truth to this and we can observe it, right? So something you can observe, you can measure, and you can start to make predictions and calculations on it. What she's essentially painting is the reality of the dating game. At this point, if you deny the reality of dating being a game, you are just lying to yourself. Hey guys, before we keep going, I want to quickly let you know about my Modern Dating Mastery course. If you haven't heard me mention it before, it's a dating course I made that teaches you all the main things on how to master modern dating. Whether you're a beginner in dating or you just want to refine your knowledge, this course is for everyone. Through helping men, I've noticed a lot of them struggle with understanding and communicating with women. They had a girl who was in love with them, then she started losing respect and the relationship ended. Or they thought they can get a girl to like them by being their personal servant. Sometimes it can even be as simple as just saying the wrong thing or responding incorrectly. A lot of this comes from believing what they've been told about dating women instead of the actual truth. And when they learn the truth, their dating life and confidence start to drastically improve. These are the core teachings of the Modern Dating Mastery course. I go over all the mainstream dating lies most guys fall for and correct them with the truth. Then I follow up with some theory to prepare you for the final part of the course, where I go over all the different ways women will test you while you're dating them. Fundamental tests, social tests, physical tests, emotional tests, and even financial tests. Each section has videos where I break down exactly how she'll test you along with how to respond so you're always passing them. There are over 60 videos in total, and it comes with a PDF cheat sheet for quick review. For those of you who are interested, I've got my biggest sale of the year going on right now, with the course being 67% off. Click the link at the top of the description to learn more about it. Alright, let's get back to the video.
There's a higher expectation if he likes you more, okay? And I would say that this is the fair exchange mark again, but for this instance, it represents the highest open-mindedness. So that means this is the highest degree this man can like you before his judgments derail how he will involve himself with you. And then we can look down here, right? And this is the attraction versus the courting. So it's the same thing. The more a man is attracted to you, desires you, wants you in any realm, the more effort he's going to be willing to put into the courting that he does with you. Okay? That is honestly self-explanatory. I don't know anything I could say deeper.
Obviously, this makes perfect sense. The more attracted a guy is to a girl, the more effort he's going to put into courting her. The problem is, though, obviously, is that girls are aware of this and they can manipulate this process. So just how we talk about guys that lie about who they are in terms of status, wealth, or whatever, girls also try to trick the game. These are all different strategies that people evolved over time to try to hack the system to try to get more than they're worth. Because of this, you have this ever-evolving game now where you have one countermeasure versus another countermeasure, and then the other gender makes another countermeasure, and it always just goes back and forth, and the highest quality people are going to have the best discernment to know what the actual high quality person is, and they're the ones that are going to have success. It's always been difficult, guys. People love romanticizing the past. They love looking back and pretending it's easy, because in the current moment, it's always going to seem more difficult than it was in the past. Things evolve and change. Living in the past is easy, but it's hard to live in the present, and it's even harder to try to accurately predict the future, which is why a very small percentage of people get together and are actually content. Dating is a competition, whether you like it or not. Not only are you competing with your own gender, but you're always in a perpetual battle with the opposite gender, because there's always a war between, I want this, you want this. And now it's a back and forth game for who gets what and who deserves what. And no, I'm not necessarily talking about it from a communication perspective. A lot of these things occur in the subconscious mind because there's this battle between logic and emotion. Obviously, the feminine is emotional, the masculine is logical. So most of the time, people aren't even fully aware that this is going on. But as you start to analyze it and boil it all down, you start to realize all these different layers at play, and then it starts to make sense why one person would be with another person. I'll give you an extreme example so you know what I'm talking about. Why is it always that the crazy, super feminine woman with all the crazy tattoos, why does it make sense to you that she's with some super big, jacked biker guy? Why does it seem like that's a match made in heaven? When you start boiling down all the layers of that, it starts to make more sense. From a knee-jerk perspective, you see those two people as compatible, but you probably can't even explain why. It just fits. This fit can be explained, but that's where all the layers come in that you have to start to pay attention to.
But in this regard, this point right here represents, again, the fair exchange, but for them, fair cost. And this means this is the cheapest this man can date a woman that he is truly attracted to. Okay? So if you want to know if a man is like truly invested in you, if he actually likes you that much, you need to be looking out for two things. What standard does he hold you to? And what is he willing to do for you? Those have to be occurring in tandem, by the way. That one can't be existing without the other. They have to be occurring in tandem.
I think she's right about this on some level, but here's the problem, right? You also have to consider, what is he willing to do for himself? A lot of guys these days are very feminine, right? So what they do is they want really, really high standards for their partner, but they don't hold themselves to that same standard. It's really hard to demand a girl to be fit, submissive, smart, and all these different things if you yourself aren't the equal thing, but in the mirror opposite, so the masculine version of it. Some things are one-to-one though, like being fit. If you want your girl to be fit, you should probably be fit. Obviously, there's exceptions. If you're successful enough in a different domain, yes, there are women that are fit that will date guys aren't necessarily the most fit, but they like them for different reasons. Generally speaking though, fit people get with fit people. Smart people get with smart people. Good-looking people get with good-looking people. Everybody wants to focus on exceptions, of course, but I think it's important to recognize the basic fundamentals. And from there, you want to see how you can add more value to maybe compensate for something that you don't have. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Don't forget to check the link in the description below.